To crop or not to crop? This million-dollar question has plagued so many Doberman owners out there, leaving them stuck in the middle of the divide. In fact, it is an ongoing debate among many dog lovers, and of course, each of them has given reasons why their position makes more sense. So which side can we say is right? Should we follow the ear cropping bandwagon, or join those who advocate for retaining the natural floppy ears of this breed? Join us today on Dog's Wiz as we sniff out the answers to these questions. And we'll be doing this by looking at the pros and cons of Doberman ear cropping. Now, before I get into the pros and cons of Doberman ear cropping, let me start with this story. The first time I saw a Doberman was on my way to work a couple years ago. Back then, I saw that its ears were erect, which made it look intimidating, like a guard dog. So when a friend of mine later mentioned that they have a Doberman as their pet, I was scared to visit for months. Naturally, my instincts were to stay away because of the preconceived notion I had of Dobermans. But to my surprise, the dog I met in their home had floppy ears. When I asked my friend, she said, "Oh, I preferred not to go through the entire ear cropping process. I just didn't see the need for it." It was at that moment I realized that those upright ears were not the original look. I only knew about taking your dog to the vet when it's sick. I had no idea that people took their dogs for surgical procedures to change their appearance. I was dazed. It made me all the more curious to know the reasons why people do it and the pros and cons behind it. So let's start with the pros of ear cropping, or would I say the arguments for this process. The first one is that cropped ears are considered the traditional Doberman look. What do I mean by that? So the Doberman breed was first created in the 1890s by a local dog watcher named Carl Friedrich Louis Doberman. His aim was to create a dog breed suitable for personal protection. All his original dogs had cropped ears and docked tails because they were created primarily for guard work, as this physical appearance seemed more intimidating. This is why many people consider ear cropping as the necessary thing to do for a Doberman. They believe that why get a Doberman if you don't want it to intimidate strangers, right? Another argument for this position is that cropped ears allow for improved sound localization, and this is particularly essential if you'll be using the Doberman for guard work. I'm sure you've noticed that most wild dogs have cropped ears. This makes it easier for them to hear the sound sources better, and of course, this is quite helpful when trying to find people. But with floppy ears, the ear cartilage that hangs down in front of the ear prevents much sound from coming in, unlike when the ears are erect. Another advantage of cropped ears is that it improves the overall health of your Doberman. One of the health concerns with floppy-eared dogs is that their ears are susceptible to ear infections due to the dirt that gets trapped under their ear flaps. If you don't clean their ears properly, you're most likely going to be battling a terrible case of ear infection, which could take months to heal. But if you think about it deeply, dogs of all breeds and ear types are prone to infection. The duty falls on the dog owner to ensure that their dog's ears are clean, whether they're floppy or erect. However, it's not only dirt that causes ear infections. Dogs can also develop ear infections due to excess moisture in the ear. Ear cropping procedures help to open your dog's ear, allowing for a drastic increase of airflow into the ear canal. Besides preventing ear infections, cropped ears also reduce the risk of future ear injuries. This applies mostly to working or hunting dogs who have to run through thick bushes. Floppy ears could easily get caught in any of the obstacles in those bushes, and this could eventually lead to serious injuries. So isn't it better just to spare yourself this risk by cropping their ears? But wait a second. I know that I've almost started winning you over with these pros I've mentioned. However, before you jump to the side of the ear cropping squad, you might also want to consider the flip side of this. One of the biggest cons of ear cropping is the long recovery period. Now, don't get me wrong, the initial surgery is a simple one. Of course, there are a few risks involved, but aren't all surgeries risky anyway? What I'm trying to say is that the healing process and training the ears to stand up can take anywhere between 5 months and a year. Now, it's not only your dog who will have to go through the pain and discomfort that comes with having its ears bandaged for so long. As its guardian, you'll also have to go through a lengthy aftercare process by consistently changing out the bandages. What's even worse is that after going through all the stress, the ear cropping might not work. There are some cases where those ears still won't stand up, and this could be because of various reasons. For example, it could be because the chosen crop is too long for the ear size, or the pinna cartilage is too thin to support the ear. Now to the spotlight question. Should you crop your dog's ears? Is the process worth the pain your dog will feel and the potentially long aftercare process? Well, ear cropping is a personal preference, so it's up to you to decide what's best for your Doberman. Now that I've successfully laid all the cards on the table, what would your choice be? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching.